Aries, this is your general monthly forecast for the month of June 2016. Welcome, thanks for joining me. And just very briefly, I just want to remind you guys that this is a general reading. So if you have your sun, your moon, or your rising / ascendant sign in the sign of Aries, this is a reading for you. But like I said, it's very general. If you want something more personal that caters specifically to your chart, because you are a unique individual, Aries, then you can email me. My email address is in the description box, and I will let you know how you can schedule and pay for a reading with myself. All right, so on to your general forecast. Don't mind this lighting, Aries. Good thing I highlighted today. Woo, okay. The biggest focuses for you are going to be on your third and fourth house for the majority of the month. The third house is communication. It's short distance travel. It's how you use your hands. It's how you communicate, even like online through email. It's also skills that you learn, it's also your thinking processes. And then the fourth house is family, your home life, your physical home, and how you feel comfortable, like your soul, how it feels good and comfortable. So let's dive into the details of this month, how it's going to play out for you. So for the first half of the month, the Sun and Venus are going to be in the sign of Gemini. This is in your third house. So this third house communication is continuing on from where it started at the end of May, which means you may feel a lot like running a lot of errands, running around, doing a lot of stuff. This is the way you might feel like, doing things. You might find yourself like super duper busy during this time, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I need to run all these errands. I need to go to the post office. I need to go to the bank. I need to do this. I need to do that, like all the time. Like, what's going on here? Every day is like crazy. The third house and Gemini energy are kind of a nervous energy as well. So it can cause some anxiety, and it can cause a lot of mental stimulation to be going on. Now, Venus will be there. Venus is, of course, love and everything and enjoyment. So enjoying yourself by just chatting it up with people, being very open and flirty and friendly. A lot of my Gemini friends, they tell me that they like to go to the bar and shoot the that is the Gemini term. I swear to you, they all say that. And that means they just go to the bar, they go talk to people, they ask them who are they, how they're doing, what they do for a living, how's the weather, where they're from, la la la, blah blah blah. But it's a totally detached conversation. It's only for entertainment for that moment in time. They don't really cling on to those people and say, oh yeah, let me get your number. They might say, yeah, let me get your number, but they don't actually mean like, I'm going to call you every day and we're going to have deep conversations. No, this is not the time. This is not the season, Aries. So you're not going to be feeling extra clingy right now with the Gemini energy going on. You're going to feel light, free, and flirty. Now, with Venus being in the third house and in Gemini, if you are single and looking to get hooked up with someone, it's more likely during this time that a friend, a relative, a cousin, a sibling, a coworker, somebody that you know and that you see on a day-to-day basis may want to hook you up with someone. You may go to the grocery store, you may go to the bank and see the same teller, and they'll finally be like, you know what, Aries, I have somebody for you. I have somebody that's just as feisty and fun as you are, and I think you guys would be a good match, so let me hook you up. So that's a scenario that could happen. But yeah, if you're single, definitely get out there and explore and have a lot of fun, just flirting and not really taking things too seriously. But if you are coupled, while Venus is in your third house, Aries, and in Gemini, try not to get in trouble with being too flirtatious out there. And if you don't have an open relationship and you're very committed, yeah, just don't be too open and flirty and get yourself in trouble. But with your partner, find some time to do some different stuff. Just sit down and have a conversation with them at dinner that's light and fun, not anything like serious and like, oh, you guys are ruled by Mars, so you could be very serious sometimes. So try not to be too serious with your partner. Just have some lighthearted fun and conversations with them. Now, Mercury continues to trail behind in the sign of Taurus for the first 12 days of June. So while all this Gemini energy is going on, its ruling planet is trailing behind in slow Taurus. Taurus, it likes to move slow. It doesn't think fast. It likes to take its time. It likes to make lists. It likes to make sense of things before they do. They think before they do. So this is more of the energy that you're going to be doing right now as far as like how you think and how you process your thoughts. But, so like you may need some extra caffeine during this time, okay? During like the first part of the month, because your mind is still going to be kind of slow back there. And then we got the Sun and Venus in Gemini. It's like, all excitable and nervous and wanting to do this and do that and thinking, and you may be like up late at night and stuff like that. So you may need some more caffeine or, anything that you do to stay awake. You may need extra of that during this time. But yeah, once we get to the 12th, Mercury will move into Gemini and catch up with the Sun and Venus for just a few days. They will all be in the same sign. So it's like extra Gemini energy, extra time to be mentally stimulated, to learn new things, to try new things, to be that curious toddler that Gemini represents as far as the ages, on the zodiac wheel of the sign. So great time to satisfy your curiosity. Just don't get yourself in trouble, Aries. On the 17th of June, Venus moves into Cancer. And then on the 20th of June, the Sun moves into Cancer. So here we've got this Cancer energy with Venus in Cancer. Let me just warn you, Aries, you guys usually like to keep fit, keep up with your body, keep up with your appearance. Venus in Cancer is going to want to make you put on a few pounds. I am just being completely honest here, honey. Okay, it's going to make you want to eat some very rich, comforting foods, because Cancer is the sign that really craves the comforts of the mother. And what is the basic function of the mother? Just thinking in primitive terms, it's to nurture and feed, its children. So you're going to feel like, oh, I just want to be fed all this like rich, delicious food, or I miss my mom's cooking, my grandma's cooking, the dishes from my home country. Like, I'm really going to be craving that stuff. You're really going to be craving that stuff a lot more during this time. Just warning you. But yes, enjoy some great times with family. Barbecuing. This is barbecue season in a lot of places around the world. So barbecue with family, enjoy some good food, but just try not to overdo it with the cravings. And also, because the Sun is in Cancer, wherever the Sun is going to put a spotlight on that part of your life. So you may have a big focus on home for some reason. Some Aries might be having to move, maybe look more into selling your home, buying a new home, or fixing things around your home. You want your home environment to be comfortable at this time, because Cancer is the sign, besides Taurus, Cancer is all about comfort. So home and comfort are going to be seriously highlighted through the end of this month for you. Now, because Mercury is such a fast-moving sign, it moves out of Gemini on the 29th and into the sign of Cancer. So for one day, the last day of June, we have the Sun and Venus and Mercury all in Cancer. So right at the end of the month, the energy is going to shift mentally to Cancerian type of themes as well. So you may not be as loud and boisterous as usual. You may be a little more quiet, a little more reserved, a little more in your shell, because Cancer is represented by the crab, which likes to hide in its shell and be comfortable. So the last day of June is like a sneak peek into July, what's going to be going on for you the first part of July. It's all that Cancerian energy. So just enjoy it to the best of your ability. Try not to be too crabby. Try not to be too emotional and take everything personally and lash out on people and think everyone's picking on me. What about me? It isn't fair. So Mercury was in retrograde the whole month of May, right? And in June, on June 5th, it comes out of its shadow period. Woohoo, right? Because while Mercury was retrograde, of course, a lot of haywire things could have been happening for you as far as communication, travel, trying to type, which I know I had a lot of problems with during that time. But on the 5th, all of that is completely over, okay? The shadow period is when Mercury's trying to get back into its orbit and spin forward again completely. So after the 5th, it's all good. But on the 10th of June, Mercury is going to oppose Mars, okay? And it's going to be, Mars is going to be in retrograde. So the 10th is one of those days that I would warn you about that's a little bit explosive. It could be very emotionally explosive, because it's the energy of Scorpio as that Mars is in, it's opposing. So there can be some conflict there between Mars and Scorpio in your 8th house and Taurus in your 2nd house with Mercury, So I would just be very, very mindful that that day there could be some tension in communication as far as with your money, your finances, because the 2nd house is your earned income. The 8th house is like income that you share with other people, or if you run a business and other people work with you, or you have a corporation that you work for or with, there can be a conversation that comes up around the 10th that has to do with your finances. So just keep that in mind. Just keep your cool that day, and maybe wait a couple days, and maybe you can get the issue resolved during that time. Another emphasis on your 3rd house, Aries, is there is a new moon in the sign of Gemini happening for you on the 4th of June. So this means the sun and moon are both in the same sign. They come together in the same degree and they birth something new, okay? Something brand new. So when it comes to communication, how you communicate, something new can come about. Maybe you change the way that you communicate with people. Maybe you realize that maybe you've been a little bit more brash, you know, or maybe your communication went haywire. Maybe you had a communication device go haywire while Mercury was retrograde, like your phone or something. A lot of people have been dropping their phones a lot more, breaking the screens, and like having all kinds of issues with communication devices. So maybe the new moon will help you to clear the way to get something new in those regards. Or a new car is possible also with a new moon in the third house. The third house is short distance travel. So I've seen people get new cars with new moon in the third. It's possible. So those are just a few possibilities for you. Now this new moon is making some important aspects that I need to tell you about. It is making a square to Jupiter, which is a challenge, an opposition to Saturn, which is a challenge, and also a square to Neptune, which is a challenge. The new moon energy is in conjunction with Venus as well, so there's something positive there. So we got a new moon, we've got the sun, moon, and Venus all in the sign of Gemini, all around the same degree in your third house. This is good, okay? But then the square energy to Jupiter and Neptune is challenging. Now Jupiter and Neptune, they both want to reach for their dreams and their goals, higher dreams, beyond just this earth. And then Saturn is in opposition. So what this tells me is with your thinking and your dreaming and the things that you want to achieve, like really big goals, you're going to have a little bit of a reality check because that's what Saturn gives. He wants you to be organized with what you do. So if you're like just jumping, like leaping before you're looking when it comes to like a goal or a dream that you have, or something that you're trying to learn because this is third house and energy involved, or because Venus is involved when it comes to a relationship. If the new moon wants to bring you a new relationship, a new commitment to someone, Saturn will either give you a reality check or help to put a solid ground down. And it will check Jupiter, which wants to go, yay, let's just do, because everything's just going to be awesome no matter what. And Neptune, that's like, oh, I love everyone and everything, and no one can do any wrong, and neither can I, and I'm a victim, you know. So all that energy is going to be like involved in this new moon. So just be very, very careful with the decisions that you make around that time. With third house matters, which is communication, and traveling short distances, and also long distances, because Jupiter is involved, even though it's in your 6th house, and then Neptune is in your 12th, which is like ultimate, like dreamy energies. So Aries, the lesson here with the new moon is definitely going to be don't leap before you look, and make sure that you are grounded in reality before you take any type of action or before you say something to someone. So as I mentioned before, Mars continues to go retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. This is your 8th house. And just being honest, you know, the 8th house can bring back some traumatic experiences. With Mars there going backwards, he wants you to work them out. He really does. I mean, Mars was in Scorpio at the beginning of the year, and could have brought up some things, you know, and then he went into Sagittarius. Woo, happy-go-lucky Sagittarius. Let's travel and run away from our problems. Now Mars goes back into deep psychological Scorpio that's like, we need to talk about these problems. We need to dig deep and get to the bottom of them and find a resolution, or else we're just going to be tortured and tormented in our minds forever, you know, in our deep psychological, the back of our mind, we're going to be tortured, you know. And with these Mars like thoughts like of war and oh my god, people are out to get me. So try not to get caught up in that, Aries, but definitely use this time while Mars is in Scorpio retrograde to go back over even some intimacy issues that you may have had in the past, or with someone present, you know, in your present life. Go back over those intimacy issues and get to the bottom of them, you know, so you can overcome those. Mars in the 8th is also, it's just a great time to do some deep psychological work, no matter what mental condition you are in. If you're not in that great of a mental condition, if you're not mentally stable, and Mars retro in the 8th house really brings up some traumatic stuff, I would definitely recommend seeking some sort of therapy, whatever therapy you're open to. It doesn't have to be, oh, you sit in someone's office and they tell you what to do. It can be like, if you're open to meditation or Reiki or something alternative, or doing something for yourself that you know can help you to work through things. So Mars goes direct at 23 degrees Scorpio on the 29th of June. Hooray! So it's going to still be in Scorpio until August 2nd. but at least it's going to be going forward. So you can move forward with your life, with anything that it may have brought up and dug up, because Mars likes to dig. It likes to get down to the bottom, you know, beneath the surface. So anything that it may have dug up while in retrograde, you can you can heal from it once it starts moving forward after the 29th. So that is excellent news. Now, I hate to be the bearer of not so great news, but Chiron is going to go retrograde in Pisces, and so is Neptune. Chiron goes retrograde on the 13th of June, and Neptune goes retrograde on the 27th of June, and these are both in your 12th house in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is another sign that deals with the deep mind. You know, it's your unconscious thoughts, okay? Like Scorpio is like your deep subconscious thoughts. Pisces is your deep unconscious thoughts. So Chiron has been there. Chiron is known as a wounded healer. So he gives you an opportunity to heal from something, but to be honest, like some wounds can be brought up. You know, you can hurt in some sort of way, but at the same time, you turn around that pain and you can heal yourself or someone else, or heal the situation. With Neptune there, Neptune is like the savior, but also the victim. So when all of this stuff is going retrograde, it can bring some things back up in those regards, you know, that have to do with healing and being a victim or being a savior. So just keep in mind that retrogrades do bring things back, but this is healing energy. Neptune is compassionate and healing also. It's like spiritual healing. That's what Neptune is down with, you know, and Chiron is like physical and spiritual healing, like just healing of the self in general in any kind of way, anything that heals you. So starting in June is definitely going to be a healing time. Also because we have your 4th house energy activated by the sign of Cancer, you know, so Cancer, it's like all your water houses are going to be activated somehow. So it can get a little bit touchy and emotional towards the middle to the end of the month, Aries, just letting you know and being honest. So make sure you stay close to the people that you're most comfortable with, the people that you can depend on for emotional support. Remember the shell energy of Cancer, you may want to hide in there, but don't be secluded and isolated. Like really reach out to people, to your support system, and you will be all right. So the last thing to mention, Aries, is there's going to be a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius on the 20th of June, and this is going to be at 29 degrees Sagittarius, and this is in your 9th house. Now, last month in May, we had a 1 degree Sagittarius full moon, and it was in conjunction with Mars, and it was super intense. Ooh, let me tell you, Aries, you're a fire sign. You can get heated easily and just charge forward. When the full moon was in a fire sign, in a fire house connected with your ruling planet, Mars, oh my gosh, I bet you some Aries were like off the chain with like your anger. Like you may have had to have a lot of anger management, or a lot of Aries may have like actually acted out on their anger and charged at people, which I really hope not. But if there was like an angry, aggressive situation that came up around the full moon last month in May, this one in June is like the closing to it, because it's the 29th degree, which is the very last degree of Sagittarius. So this is a final chance to complete and to overcome something and to finally release and let go of something during this full moon on the 20th. Because it's in your 9th house in Sagittarius, the themes that can come up can be anything in regards to travel, you know, also your higher mind, like seeing the big picture of things, and also your belief system, you know. So the full moon can bring to light anything in those regards, but definitely going to bring things to a close that were brought up to the surface in May. All right, Aries, well, that was it for your June forecast. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and liking the videos and subscribing. Hey, I get really excited about that, and I appreciate all the support. I really hope this was helpful for you and gave you some insight. And remember, if you want a deeper look into what's going on in your life personally, shoot me an email. It's down below in the description box, and I will be happy to help you. Well, take care, you guys. I will see you guys next month in July. Woo! It's gonna be hot. All right, take care. Peace.